The Arnold Clark Reel sale is now on.
Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel and live on Facebook as well, Monday to Friday. I'm Peter Martin. Great to have your company tonight. It is Thursday. Unusually, we have Hugh McDonald of the Daily Mail in on the Thursday, but he is indeed welcome alongside Alan Ruff. Here's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Really looking forward to getting into it. Of course, it was a full fixture card in the Premiership last night. All the predictions in the world certainly wouldn't have come up with the 6 final results from the Premiership. In the end, Celtic go top of the table. And at the bottom, Dundee slowly but surely starting to revive themselves and get off the foot of the table. Reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi sums up all 6 games.
Jordan Jones scored the match-winning goal against his future employers as Killie beat Rangers 2-1. Jermaine Defoe may have scored on his debut, but it is the Kilmarnock winger who will take the headlines. Celtic moved a point clear at the top of the Premiership after easing past St Mirren 4-0. The new boys were the stars of the show. Ollie Burke scored his first 2 goals in a Celtic shirt, before Timo Weah bagged another one from the bench. Aberdeen are now level on points with Rangers after a 3-0 victory against Hamilton. A double from Sam Cosgrove makes it 9 goals in 8 games for him and piles the pressure on Accies boss Martin Canning. Dundee gave their survival hopes a huge boost with a 2-1 win at Tynecastle. Jambo's boss Craig Levein was left infuriated after the game, calling his new striker David Vanacek unfit and rubbish. Motherwell made it 5 games without a win for Hibs as they nicked a 1-0 home victory. 2 teenagers stood out for the Steelmen, Jack Hasty and David Turnbull, with the former assisting the latter for the only goal of the game. And St Johnstone continued their strong season with a hard-fought 1-0 win over Livingston. It's 11 clean sheets in 14 games for Tommy Wright's men, who leapfrog Hearts into 5th place.
OK, before we get the thoughts of Hugh and Ruffy, let's first of all, Ruffy, have a look at that table in the Premiership, because suddenly Celtic have their noses out in front because of Rangers' slip-up. And at the foot, it's St Mirren now, because Dundee surprised more than a few with their win at Tynecastle.
Yeah, certainly. I think at the top of the league, Rangers are the ones who have dropped out of that one. You know, we all saw it yesterday. It looked very competitive, very tight, and we were all waiting to see how these results would go. But certainly at the bottom, Dundee are the team who have grabbed a very, very good away win to put them back in it.
Yeah, let's dissect each game. First of all, Rugby Park. I thought Killie were good enough for a draw. Hugh, in the end, they were good enough for a win. And again, I'll go over this because consistently on this show, I think we've looked at the bigger picture. I often feel as if some people are guilty of a week-to-week knee-jerk reaction in offering their opinion. I don't think Rangers, since the start of the season and right through, are good enough to win the league. I think there are too many mediocre players who are elevated to a status that they don't deserve. And again, I didn't think Killie played great last night, but they got the win.
Killie played the Killie way last night. They played very conservatively. They played to a very tight plan. I think the key of the match was the way that they played in midfield with the 3 central in midfield, having a man over there. And they took the chances when they were offered, and by goodness, they were offered. So it was almost like a perfect sort of microcosm of what Killie do really well. Rangers, I think it was almost a microcosm of what they do badly. They were sloppy in defence, very poor in defence, didn't create for all their pressure very much, still don't have creation going forward. And I think there'll be, you're right to say that everything swings in Scottish football. One good result against Celtic made them, favourites for the Champions League. One bad result against Kilmarnock means they're the worst team in the world. That's not the case.
Yeah.
But they are in a place where they've got definitive problems that they haven't researched. I thought for example, at centre half last night, the two centre halves looked really ponderous, you know, and that's not really been addressed in the transfer window either.
Yeah, Worrell's not good enough to get into the Nottingham Forest team, so that's where he's at. And overall, Ruffy, I think some players are elevated to, as I mentioned, a status that they do not deserve. Rangers, I thought maybe that Steven Gerrard would get this season to bed in and then next season make his real strong push. But what's happened is Celtic have actually given everybody a scent that they're better than they are. And it's put pressure on Steven Gerrard, because for the first time I've actually watched tweets going out, and the record that Steven Gerrard has, as you can see now from his matches in charge of Rangers, now they're comparing him to Kashinya, Murty, Warburton, and looking and saying, well, this is just not good enough.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're a supporter. When you beat Celtic at New Year, you know, you start believing that you are going to win the league. That puts extra pressure on the manager. But I think if you listen to Steven Gerrard last night after the game, he knows he's lacking in quality. He might have made Rangers a better side with better players, but he knows there's another level you need to go to start challenging Celtic.
Yeah, and I think though that the board bought into this hype as well, because as soon as the transfer window came in, I mean, we don't know what they're paying Defoe and Stephen Davis, but we know it'll be substantial.
It's about 35 grand of the 65.
So you're thinking to yourself, you know, 15 weeks of that gets you a permanent transfer. But it's as if the board have said, listen, we've sat down, oh, wait a minute, we're within touching distance, let's go all in. Let's go all in to the summer.
Yeah.
So it's
backed him in the transfer window.
It's a huge gamble though, because when the summer comes, and if Rangers don't win the league, all that money has gone, and there's nobody to show for it, because Defoe's not going to stay there. Davis might, you know, but others, Brian Kent, I would imagine, would want to, you know, there's players there that can move on, you know, without a transfer fee.
But the question is, has Steven Gerrard made them a better side? The answer to that is probably narrowly yes. He's been backed by the board. But if we're going to be consistent in this, it's not so much knee-jerk, they're potentially title winners in some people's eyes. We can't be knee-jerk from one result. I still think they're going to make it interesting. But I think it's all down to what Celtic do rather than what Rangers can do with this squad.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you look at Celtic's depth of squad as well now, I mean, it's almost absurd how many players they've got. Funnily enough, absurd, but at full-back positions, they're really lacking. So I see there's interesting statements coming out from Celtic as well about the transfer, well, from Brendan Rodgers about the transfer window. So it'll be interesting to see what Celtic do in a few days remaining. Yeah,
I mean, I know in our fraternity, quite a few people get excited when he almost confirms, well, I don't really know that much about Marian Zved coming in, but we've got lots of wingers. Now, that's just basically for me something that's happening not just at Celtic but everywhere else. Somebody else buys players. You're just hired as a coach, you coach them, but surely at some point, and quite a lot of people are looking at their signing policy, surely at some point Brendan Rodgers said, listen, I don't care if you're buying players for the future, just get the players in for the now.
Well, it was the interesting too, from, you know, you and I, you know, as professional journalists, we sit through every nuance of a quote, and I thought the two quotes or the two press conferences in tandem were very interesting when he talks about we've got to buy real quality at right back, and that costs money, so that's giving the board the shove for £6-8 million for a right back, and then allied to not I bought this or we bought, the club is buying this one. The club is, I've got 1 million wingers at the moment. This guy's a project. This guy I don't think I'll use him much this season. I can't see him using. So in tandem, they're interesting. So, but certainly, I mean, the real priority at the moment is a fullback.
Yeah, and lastly, Ruffy, they dismantled a dreadful St Mirren side. It doesn't matter what way you look at it, they're at the bottom end, and they will struggle to stay in this division. So Celtic managed to get Burke to score a couple. Sinclair and Weah chips in again. And they also rolled out Vaku Nisuf-Beu at half-time to the disco lights. I thought they were signing Barry Gibb, but nevertheless, he's there as well. And
Barry
I think,
Gibb is?
Yeah, well...
Missed that one.
It certainly could join in the sing, so I'd love to see Barry Gibb in with the Green Book. but nevertheless, they've got some signings who are making an immediate contribution. Burke's got a couple, still don't know where he's going to play, overall, and Weah's chipped in again.
Yeah, I mean, we saw so many strikers coming into so many clubs. They don't score goals for whatever reason, and all of a sudden they're carrying an injury. It'll take them time to get up to speed, or it'll making excuses all over the place. But these are two guys who've come in and scored, and if you're a manager, you're happy with that, because everybody was beginning to go, well, why are we bringing that kind of quality in?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter who you are. If you hit the back of the net, the manager's going to be happy, the fans are going to be delirious. And that's what all matters.
Yep, OK, Celtic go top again, but to their credit, Aberdeen are in the mix. He deserves credit because you've got the boy Cosgrove scoring goals. That's 9 in the last 8 games, Hugh. He bagged a double. Hamilton, the pressure's on Martin Canning, but first of all, great credit to Derek McInnes. Yeah,
particularly, the way this season moves on, it's incredible. From 1 week to others, Gerrard's, the next Bob Paisley. Gerrard's a dud. 1 week later, he's a dud. But this thing, and you can remember, I think Aberdeen, I was sitting here one day and Aberdeen were 8th, and it wasn't, it was like 8 or 9 games into the season. You're going, wait a wee minute here, what's going wrong there? So, he stuck to his guns, he's turned it round. And the big problem Aberdeen always was nobody to score goals, because we knew Derek McInnes could set up a team that would restrict chances for others. Now he's got this guy, Cosgrove, in form. They're looking strong.
In a sad sort of way, though, he's hiding the cracks of Stevie May. He can't find the net regularly, so he's got a target man there, and the rest of them, as a supporting cast, should be able to chip in as well.
Well, they should, because we know that there's creativity around that Aberdeen team. Niall McGinn's a good player. The young boys, Smith is a good player as well. McLennan's a good player. I mean, they've got boys that can play off that pivot.
Yeah.
Aberdeen's been really interesting, actually, and I like the way the way Derek saw it's not a title race at all and all that. And he'll just be saying one game at a time, just see.
Well,
how
I think
it
he's been smart, Hugh, because quite simply what he wants to do is kind of put the lid on what we have now is extreme opinions from some in our game, but also the fans start to put unrealistic expectations on them. All of a sudden, well, if we're not going to win the league, Aberdeen fans are saying, we should be winning the Scottish Cup then. All of a sudden, that puts another pressure on you. So I can see where Derek's coming from. Calm down, we're not going to beat Celtic.
Yeah, and he knows that nowadays modern football very much is that money talks and money gets you quality now. And the gulf between Aberdeen and Celtic, in terms of turnover and wages is absolutely huge.
Yeah. Ruffy, if we are at the end of the season, if there was a moment where I could sit down with Fraser Wishart and say to him, look, we need a new category in the PFA Player of the Year Awards. There needs to be a new category, and that category is after-match press conference manager of the year. You hand that immediately to Craig Levine and say, look, we've had the votes cast. Nobody else got any votes. You got them all. Because his after-match press conferences are just gold dust now. Brilliant.
Yeah, and as Hugh touched on it, that's what the media boys want. They want somebody like that who they can get to as quick as possible after a game, and they can get the true facts of how he's feeling at that precise moment in time. And he certainly didn't hold back there, although he sort of slaughtered the boy. He sort of gave him a wee bit of leeway as well, but... for a new player to get taken off so early in the game, the boy will have to get his head around that one.
Well, I thought it was great because, more often than not, he's just taking his time to settle in. Not that with Levine. No, he was taken off because he was rubbish. And then, of course, I think two other things he said significantly, which I thought, over and above the team assessment, he says, I'm annoyed that he didn't turn up in better shape. So that questioned his professionalism because he's now going to have to go and work on his fitness. So because he's known he's been coming for a long time. And then over and above that, he said, and obviously we like to keep a bit of decorum on the show, Hugh, he said that the overall team performance was, it begins with a P, but I'll just say mince, to kind of coin an old Scottish phrase that is a word that has two different meanings.
Yeah, and not holding back. I agree with him. That'll really anger Craig, is that nowadays as well, all this stuff is measurable. It's not as if, you know, a player turns up and they can say, I think he's carrying a couple of pounds. They can actually measure the guy's body fat, can do the beep test, can do everything. They can say this, because, you know, there'll be somebody in sports science at Hearts has said to Craig, by the way, this guy's body fat is X, this guy's beep test is X, this guy's need for this guy's basically not fit, you know.
Yeah.
Possibly, this is what's been said to him, and shouldn't he be arriving? It's a professional business. You shouldn't be arriving like that.
You can actually read that information, Ruffy, during the game.
Aye.
Yeah, they've got the, I don't know what they're called, they've got the wee sort of
monitors
that they use, and somebody, I mean, I watched the game down in England, and I can't remember what team it was, but the particular player was playing particularly well, and I thought he was doing okay, and then 20 minutes for the end he got hauled off. And I'm going, and it's an energy level, you know, they can actually visibly see that his energy level's dropped, you know, and they need to get him off the park and get somebody fresh on.
Yeah.
But come back to Hearts, it's very, very noticeable that Stephen Naismith is a big player for Hearts, because when he goes out of that team, the energy level in the whole team just drops up front.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if we're talking about the compliments we're paying both of them earlier on in the season, Hearts and Hibs again just looked inept. The manager's going through a phase at the moment, as quite a few of the managers are doing. They're saying, well, listen, if we're in a new generation where people don't like criticism, they're not holding back. I mean, Neil Lennon's just slaughtered his front line.
He was never sort of doing that even with his teammates at Celtic Park. He was never one to be reticent. I think the big problem with Hibs, and it's an obvious one, is that the way Neil wants to play is very aggressive, very enterprising, and last year they were brilliant because they had aggressive and enterprising players in midfield. You know, they had McGear, they had Allen, and they had McGinn, and that three. Boyle was flying, Canberry was playing well up front, whether we're playing three sometimes at the back or four at the back, the full-backs were bombing on, and that. He's lost the three in midfield, and that, I think it's as simple as that. I mean, they can, if you lose that quality going forward, and you don't replace it with, I mean, Mallon's coming down, and he's been all right, and Horgan's coming on to a game, but if you don't replace that with the same kind of quality, it's obvious you're going to go down. Yeah,
he wants Omiyonga to do the running, he wants Ryan Gold to show creativity. He also wants the board to stump up for Scott Allen. Scott Allen is desperate to get out of Celtic now and go and play for Hibs for the last 6 months, which I think, you know, that the onus is on Hibs to try and come up with a token amount that Celtic will say, OK, we're going to give you him.
Well, I would think after that result last night, it's something he'll be doing. He'll be champing his door down, probably as we speak, to get the money to get him in. If the people behind the scenes can't see what's needed, then Neil will get even more angrier, because, as Hugh said, the side that he had was a fantastic side to watch. OK, the boys over and playing in the Asia Cup, he's lost him, and he's lost Boyle, he's lost all these wee midfield players. I don't think Mallon is turning it in, week out, which I think is frustrating him as well. But he seems to have a bee in his bonnet about the boys up front. He thinks that the ammunition that they're getting, they should be scoring more goals. Yeah,
OK, I'm not going to finish this programme without complimenting St Johnstone. Tommy Wright's boys, 5th in the table. I'm looking at 11 clean sheets in the last 14 games. That is some record. 1-0 against Livingston, who are not an easy team to beat.
Yep, I mean, and at the beginning of the season, we're kind of wondering about St Johnstone. Could they, it was an older team, could they rejuvenate the team? Could they replace the older heads? And he's done so. I think that actually as well, there's a lot of clean sheets and there's a lot of 1-0s about St Johnstone, but if you look at what Tommy's doing now, he seems to me to be bringing in quite a lot of quality for this league up front. I mean, Watt, the great enigma, Tony Watt, Kennedy.
I like the boy Kennedy.
I like him as well.
Yeah.
So they've got options up front now, and they're looking a wee bit more dangerous up front. I think, again, I mean, I'm just full of admiration for Tommy Wright, because he just does it on a consistent basis.
Yeah, overall, Hugh, I'm just looking here. It's nice twists and turns. There'll be a lot more to come before, you know, we get to this knee jerk. He's a good manager. He's a he's a good player. They're a good team. I'm looking at it this week. Celtic again with the home game, and Rangers go to Livingston. Yep,
very interesting game at Livingston, because Rangers obviously been beaten there. Livingston held Celtic draw. Okay, Livingston lost last night, but they didn't lose by much. Tough team. Celtic, well, a Hamilton team that they're already talking about. Martin Canning's talking about, how can I raise this team for Saturday? And if I don't raise them, we're in for a tonking. So another interesting week at the top of the table.
Yeah, I'm just going to say something. You know, I think this next 2 or 3 weeks could suddenly start to open up a gap, Ruffy, in my mind. The one thing that will keep the pace, Aberdeen against Kilmarnock, is a brilliant game at Pittodrie to look forward to.
Yeah, and it's just falling into Celtic's lap, you know, because they're all going to start cutting each other up. Whether Celtic in the next 2 or 3 games, they've got relatively easy games coming up.
Yeah, okay. You say that. How to alienate all the rest of the league, Hugh. One little word, Jim McIntyre. Dundee will be hoping for 10th, and that's it, I think. Just scrape in safety.
I think he'll do it, because he's going the way he did at Ross County. He's going down the same path that he's done at Ross County. And if you look at the table now, Hamilton are definitely within striking distance. I think it's between the 3. That was a big result for Motherwell last night. I think that ends any problems they have.
Ruffy, I'm going St Mirren Hamilton to go.
Yeah, I think it looks as if these two will be the ones
that finally tipped Hamilton in again,
Yeah, but I'm sure you're going to agree with me before we go fair that Wednesday was a spooky night last night for results.
just in case you haven't grasped it, any midweek game is spooky. It's as simple as that. Well, great. Listen, tomorrow Barry Ferguson will be back with us. And of course, tonight, Hugh, you and I are going to hang about together.
Yeah, that's right.
You and Obi-Wan Kenobi Keevans for a wee night out.
The Gala Bingo. Other bingo halls are available for a wee night out.
Yeah, Ruffy, there's no point. We can't bring you after your performance in the SPSL quiz. We'd have nothing to talk to you about.
If you don't get asked, then there's no way you can go. You know, that's the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there are plenty of people who would email in to have an evening out with Ruffy. If you can, guys, email us and we'll pass it on to Ruffy. On that note, you can give us your view on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter as well at PLZ Soccer. From the lads here and myself, thanks for watching.
The Arnold Clark reel sale is now on.